And welcome to another exciting installment of the Terrorisk podcast. I believe this is going to be episode 70, and the star date is September 11th, 2023. The holiest of holidays, American holidays. Fucking, oh shit, yeah, I keep forgetting it's like 9/11 until I see that it's 9/11. So yeah, we're just we're hanging out. We're actually doing this one live for all you guys who are in the midst of like tuning in. Got Bo here with me.
Hello.
And yeah, today I figured we should, since Bo is an aRTiSt, a person who does art and shit. I figure, you know, we could do we kind of like go into that, you know, and talk about like the top 5 things Bo wished she knew before doing art, right? Isn't that right?
Allegedly.
But yeah, to kick it off, I just want to I don't know. I don't really know what the fuck to say about 9/11 anymore. It's been like over fucking 2 decades. I don't know what to. I mean, did Bush do it? Did he not? Was it the aliens? Was it the Jews? We just don't know. We don't know.
It'll always be a mystery for sure.
What do you think about 9/11? Did you lose anyone?
I personally, I don't recall. I know a few friends have lost from family members or people that they knew and stuff, but I don't know anybody specifically. I also wasn't in school that day. Like, that was the only day that I was absent that entire school year, and I used to always have perfect attendance. For some weird reason, I didn't feel well that day, and then I just slept in, and then my mom woke me up, and she was like, hey, the Twin Towers are falling, like a plane hit it. And I was just like, oh shit. And that was pretty much it. Like, I didn't get like the full like trauma experience of it like everybody else who actually went to school.
I mean, one thing I remembered about that whole era, that whole decade actually, starting from like early 2000s to like 2010, was people were actually that was like pre-ACAB days. Mm-hmm. You know, so people were still like looking at cops like, oh, they're my heroes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And then I remember my parents used to have like everybody used to have like the little like side flags on their cars and stuff, just like hanging off to like show their patriotism and stuff like that.
They're showing that they're never going to forget.
Yeah. And I guess people kind of didn't, at least.
I mean, if there's one thing you can't do, it's you can't forget.
Can't forget things, you know.
Speaking of 9/11 and art, did you ever make like a 9/11 themed piece of artwork?
Actually, I haven't. Because I don't know. I was always very abstract to begin. I think the most political thing that I ever like arted in my life was just something about like global warming and then Bush still being president, and it was just like an illustration of like me and like my little like graffiti penguin from when I was in high school, and it was on Staten Island, and only what was it, Todd Hill is the highest point in Staten Island, so it was Todd Hill just sticking out and be like, Bush, look what you did, except there were like spaces like in between Bush. It was like BU and then space, so it was like bullshit.
Jesus.
Like, it was stupid, but yeah, that was really just it.
I mean, looking back now, it's probably like, you know, it's probably not a good look because, I mean, if we're all being honest, like, life was way better when Bush was president.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There were better cartoons.
And also, I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about either. Like, there was also, like, a dumbass thing that I did in, like, maybe, like, 1st or 2nd grade. Like, it was just, like, making fun of Al Gore because of his name. Like, it just sounded like algae. And, like, looking back, it was just, like, the dumbest thing for me to, like, I don't know, rag on him about.
Yeah, but none of the fucking adults knew what they were talking about back then either, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, because, look, I'm not going to say, like, the internet made us all collective geniuses, far from it. But at the same time, I do think it can at least keep you more informed with where other people's heads are at. Yeah. Whereas, like, you know, if everyone's just watching the news, that's, like, such a one-sided form of, like, information gathering, you know? Whereas, like, if it's, like, just mass trends on Twitter where everyone's constantly talking to each other and shit. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a little bit more feet, especially because you got people like, you know, that could actually be there and like on the spot just transmitting like video footage of what's going on and shit. I mean, could you imagine if 9/11 happened during...
that would be fucking insane. Dude, it would be such a shit show, honestly. Like, I mean, we had like the school, like the active shooter or whatever, and the kid just like telling like the shooter like, wow, you fucking suck and stuff like that on stream. Like,
yeah.
That I feel like it would be like that, but like so much worse.
The memes would be insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn, imagine if 9/11 happened in 2023. That's like crazy fucking shit to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I feel it would be a lot lamer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone like there would be less room to sensationalize it because
I also feel like everybody's very like the younger generations are a lot more desensitized to just like tragedy and like these events and stuff now. So it's just like they're just so hyper exposed to death from such an early age.
Aside from that, it's like since everyone has the ability now to join in on the conversation and not just fucking like reporters and shit. Now you have like where something like that were to happen, on one hand, everyone would be like spreading it and spreading it and spreading it. So that would kind of have its own effect where it's like, all right, we know, we get it. Like within a week, it'll be like, yes, I could only hear so much about 9/11. We know, you know. But also at the same time, like while that's being pushed, you also have like the people just like joking about it and shit as it's happening. Because that's what we do with disasters now. You know, like we're just like, oh, big deal. You know, a pandemic's wiping out like a third of the human population.
It's just kind of like dismissing it as something to be able to like make light of is like something. It's a more common cope these days, I feel.
Well, personally, if 9/11 happened now, like today, instead of like 20 something years ago, I would do the same thing I did for the coronavirus. I would just buy stocks. I would invest in the stock market because I know shit would start plunging. And I'd be like, oh shit, everything's on fire sale. And then I would just start like buying shit out just like I did.
But the thing is like, you also have to take into account that other people are thinking the same way as you do now. So like, it's kind of like just like some weird ass like fucked up 4D chess or some shit like that. Where it's like you don't know how it actually is going to go now, knowing that people are smarter than they were before.
Nah, I think that, all right, so there's a lot of ways to react to a tragedy, like a natural disaster, like the pandemic or something like a terrorist attack like 9/11. There's so many ways. I think it takes a specific kind of person with like a specific level, like an appetite for risk to say like, oh, the world's burning, but you know what, I'm an optimist. I'm kind of betting that this will all blow over, and right now everything looks really bad and the stock market is in the shitter, but this is the perfect time to buy. You know, like when everyone's just like panicking and thinking of nothing else, you're like, you know what, I'm going to invest in my future. And that's exactly what I did for the coronavirus. So if anything like that were to happen, that's probably gonna, I mean, I'm not going to do it exactly the same way. Like, maybe I wouldn't do it with stocks. Maybe this time around, there's like more things to take into account. Now, you should like invest in something else that is kind of comparable to stocks. Like art. Art is a great thing to invest. I'm not talking about like going to like galleries or like talking to artists and buying paintings from them and shit. I'm saying like, you know, there's actually equity pools of like, you know, crazy valuable works of art where it's just like basically investing in like a company's stock. You know, it's like saying like, I'm going to invest X amount of money to have this % ownership in over this painting's equity. And also, if you know how a specific artist is and what kind of content they already make, like you can actually like you can call what artwork they're gonna end up doing or like what political like statements they're gonna have, if any, and that might actually help in whatever you're investing in. Oh yeah 100%. And also another thing about art is that it doesn't depreciate in value, unlike a lot of other things that people would invest their money on, like cars, yachts, shit like that. Like that just eventually becomes worthless virtually on a long enough timeline. But stuff like art, as long as it's like preserved, I feel like that just gets more valuable. Then there's gold. Gold is really, I've always loved gold as a, well, not just the color, but like the density and the meaning behind like the actual mineral. I think it's cool because it doesn't change. You know, it doesn't really degrade like other metals. It's actually really funny because I'm allergic to gold. So really? Like, yeah. How are you allergic to gold? Like I have a gold sensitivity. Like it's I don't know. That's what they test and whatever. Do you mean in terms of jewelry? Yes, like if it's on like if I'm touching it for an extended period of time, if it's like on a certain spot, like I'll start getting rashy. All right, so then have you tried like different carats, like 18, 14, yeah, it's all carat? In general. Like it's just a matter of how long it sits, and like usually. Well, like, it might not be the gold. It might be like the less. If it's like 10 carat or 14 carat gold, that's usually an alloy. It's not pure. It's, yeah, I'm also like kind of sensitive to like the cheaper metals that they like. Sell, like all like the cheap earrings and crap like that, like aluminum. I think if you ever got your hands on like 18 karat, even 22 karat or 24 karat gold, like try rubbing that on your skin and see if that. No, I'm serious, because I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not actually the gold that you're having a.
It's like the prolonged exposure to it. Like I know it's specifically gold. It's like not like it's not anything else because like I got tested for it.
The alternative is to always just get stainless steel shit plated.
That's what I know. I literally only wear stainless steel for the most part. Like this is the only thing. This is silver. This is my grandma's. But
well, yeah, sterling silver is another good one.
Yeah, so I'm more of a silver and stainless steel person. Like I like that color. Like I'm not like I don't really enjoy the yellow tint unless it's with like I don't know, another color. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's roll on to this list. Okay, so 5 things Bo wishes she knew before before starting to make art. Number 1. And this list is all her, by the way. Number 1 is it's not a career.
Okay, so what I meant by it's not a career is that when I first started like actually considering doing art, I always thought that I needed to monetize it like to an extent. But it's kind of like I had to still discover what I was capable of doing and what I was capable of doing and also enjoying like doing. So it's just something that I should have considered like farther on into my life, like when I actually like was able to experience different materials and like how the art world worked and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of prerequisites to consider, and when I was younger I was naive and I just kind of like jumped right into, oh shit, I want to make money off of this, like without having like an actual game plan or like knowing the dynamics of how that field actually worked.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Also, I was just talking to someone yesterday. My friend, she was saying something about pursuits or psychology, and I don't know, like I didn't really mean it like to be taken like, you know, anything beyond face value, but I basically just said, I was like, I think once you start to get paid for something, it becomes bullshit. It starts to become bullshit.
Yeah. Because now there's like that factor of money in it, and like you always need money.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I see this even in something like thinking about potentially teaching martial arts. I think we talked about this before, like where if I started a school, you know, as opposed to just doing one student at a time, or you got to strike this weird balance because like if you rely on like a martial arts school to make you money and you have students coming in paying you to learn, and you know, what if they don't like the way you teach and suddenly you start losing students? But then like all you're doing is just teaching the way you've been taught, you know? So it's like people are going to quit if they start, you know, if it's too hard for them or something, and you get discouraged.
Yeah,
so it's
you like personalize it.
But then then you make a decision. It's like, all right, what do I care about more? Do I care about retaining students, or do I care more about preserving what I was taught? You know, what do I give more shits about?
Yeah.
So, you know, like I always said, like all the best martial arts teachers that I've met are always like, I don't make a living doing this, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, and also like that kind of reminds you of like how things get dumbed down over time. Like everything's just kind of like I guess like a TLDR, and just like kind of like when you're like talking to like a toddler or some shit, you have to like put it like real basic. Like it ends up being like that, but for like adults and like other like disciplines and practices that like can't just like thrive in that kind of like general environment.
Yeah, but I think that's what like accolades and prestige and achievements are for. You know, whether you're a martial artist or something, at least, you know, to gain that, you need that kind of clout if you're going to be that strict about something, right?
Yeah.
Like you do amazing things because you were that strict on yourself. Then people say, I want to learn from you because I want to learn from the best. And then you tell them, well, you've seen what I can do, you've seen what I've done, and if you want to learn from the best, this is what being the best takes.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle that, then you're not going to be the best. You have to understand that, or then you're basically just like wasting your time. Or at the very least, like, you know, you're not going as hard as you could be going.
Yeah.
You're not living up to your actual highest potential.
It's always good to like kind of like check in with yourself and be like, who am I actually doing this for? Like, I don't every once in a while, because sometimes like people get lost. Like they get lost in the sauce for real. Like
Yeah, that's I was just saying, it's like you know, I feel like what I would learn from a lot of things I would learn from doing sword shit, I would be like, I would apply especially to creative stuff, you know. For example, there would be I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I don't really care about winning tournaments. I don't really care about, you know, getting rank. I think the main point, the most important thing to focus on is the practice. I have to tell myself the practice is the goal, nothing else. I'm just the highest, you know, the highest goal for me is just showing up to practice, because it's through practice I gain the most benefit. I don't gain the most benefit from winning medals and shit or stuff like. I gain the most benefit from consistently going to class and like, you know, constantly.
That comes after.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's like if you're focusing on the right thing, doing something, then it's only going to be good for you, because it's going to push you in the right ways, and at the same time it's going to temper your other qualities.
Yeah, and that also goes into my number 2, which is like, don't get comfortable, because like,
number 2, don't get comfortable.
Yeah, if you just start plateauing and like you don't kind of do that check-in with yourself and like kind of like reevaluate like your goals, like update them, kind of like just like kind of cater to how you currently are as opposed to how you were when you first planned all this shit out, like it's gonna stagnate, I feel.
So yeah, basically that's a hard thing. I mean, it's easier to ask or to tell than to do, right? To tell people don't get comfortable, constantly push your comfort, because by nature doing that is fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, and it's like, it's not comfortable.
And also, it's so much easier to burn out now. Like I'm kind of in a funk right now too. Like I haven't doodled in like maybe like a week or so.
You know, but funny thing about burning out, you ever notice how like burning out actually happens when you do get caught in like repetitive, comfortable cycles, as opposed to when you're pushing yourself, like when you're uncomfortable, when you're pushing your comfort zone, suddenly it's like you have more energy.
Yeah,
suddenly,
it's like a rush. It's like adrenaline or some shit like that. It's like it's always exciting and it's still engaging. I think when you can't fully engage yourself anymore, then like you just kind of like peter out.
So that's why like it's important not to get too comfortable no matter what you're doing, I guess. So, you know, I don't know, I guess that's a sign for me to like try new shit with this podcast, which hopefully I should do. I mean, I really want to get a better camera.
Word.
I don't know. I feel like that's just a good investment I should be looking to make, especially if I'm going to keep trying to like produce video, music, content. I should probably invest in a camera. Yeah.
And it's gonna be easy for you to figure out what's a better camera or whatever. Like there's so much information out there now, especially on Reddit. Like Reddit's so useful for just like finding like I guess like tricks and tips and hacks and stuff like that. Like for
you mean like if you have like a highly specific problem,
very highly specific things, like you can just like it's so much more like informative than like whatever search engines do now. Like I go on Reddit and I just type in all my shit. It's just there's so many like first-hand experiences you can read from. Like
just Google your problem and then type in Reddit, and then it's gonna give you everything you need.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I think like to me that's just that's the different levels of like getting into something or learning something new. It's like you first start and then you come across problems and you're like, okay, and then you just Google it and then you'll get so many results. But then as you get deeper into something, and then suddenly like, you know, as your skill level in a thing increases, suddenly the problems and the obstacles you come across get way more complex and way more nuanced. Suddenly, like, you can't just do a cursory Google search anymore.
Yeah, that was like me in fish forums. I used to be a fish person. I used to like have a fish tank and everything. I had multiple fish tanks actually, and like I was just hanging out in the fish forums, and you couldn't fucking Google anything anymore, and you just had to like just go deeper and deeper. Yeah,
because the deeper you go into something, then the more you have to like lean on verbiage, and that gets really complicated for certain things. I mean, if it's like, I mean, it's already like crazy enough probably with sports, you know, for example, or martial arts. Could you imagine? Like, fuck, especially if there's that whole like thing that gets like lost in translation if it's like a foreign art form, or like music, for example, like all sorts of shit.
It's like that with climbing too. Like I climb, there's a lot of like tricky hints and whatever.
That's a good sign though.
Shortcuts and
whatever. But that's definitely a good sign. If your problems are getting more complicated in a thing and you have to do like way more technical searches, then I'd say that's a good thing. What else did I have to do that with? I don't know. I think that so far the easiest thing that I've had to like learn like new shit would be cooking. Cooking's like so fucking simple. What's hard is baking. Baking is fucking difficult. Yeah, baking is super hard.
That's interesting. I feel like it's like the opposite for me, but I think it's also because I like did more baking than I did cooking when I was younger.
I don't know. Baking. I think you have to be more exact with baking.
Okay.
with like the amount of ingredients.
Yeah,
and
I
the-
think I liked measuring everything out like exactly, and that's why I thought it was easier. Like it was like kind of like comfortable. Like it was a comfortable level of doing things for me.
Yeah, but cooking, I think cooking, you're you're allowed to like.
Yeah, you can just eyeball stuff and
Yeah.
whatever. Like if you like throw some weird ass concoction into the oven, it just like explodes. Like that's kind of like because you didn't follow the measurements or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also with baking, it's not just the ingredients or the amounts that you have to be exact about, but also like, you know, the processes, like cooking, like leave it in there for this amount of time and then
Yeah.
let it chill for this amount of time and this exact temperature. So
Yeah.
yeah, I always found
It's a different kind of like tweaking, I guess. Like
yeah, so I always found baking
and skill set.
to be more annoying. In that sense. All right, so number three. Number three is it's a but for the record, I hope if I could edit this and make like big numbers go whoosh.
Oh my God.
To like anyway, number three, it's a process. It's a apparently you say making art is a process.
Yeah, you don't just learn things overnight, obviously. Like you have to like hone your skill, you have to figure out what you actually enjoy doing and what you like fucking hate doing, like
and you have to see what other people are doing
yeah,
too.
yeah, and you also have to take into consideration like what's getting popular, like what people
yeah,
are
probably.
interested in, like
You have
what's
to find
getting
inspiration.
traction.
You have to find good inspirations
Yeah,
for sure.
but like it's like for me, I don't have specific influences. Like I have people telling me that I look like certain artists and stuff like that. But
You look like Jackie Chan.
Oh my God. No, not like that. But yeah, it's like kind of like what was I say? I used to say that like my favorite artist was Vasily Kandinsky, but like I kind of like ended up adopting that because people kept on mentioning him to me, and they were like, "Hey, like your stuff reminds me of that." And I'd be like, "Oh, hey," and then I like check him out and be like, "Oh, wow, this guy is actually pretty cool." And then that's how I even like got around to liking him so much. So like I don't know, I feel like for me like I don't really look for inspiration. Like it just kind of like happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a way better way of doing that, but it's also a longer process, like because you never really know when it's going to happen. But when it does, it's way more natural and it feels right. And yeah, I don't know. It's like it's very weird. It happens for different people. Like
I think to explore when it comes to like, well, coming at this from a musician, I'll say this much. I think different art forms like painting, music, different things, what you're really looking at are different creators' perspectives. And I'm not talking about perspective like in terms of like idea and theories and stuff like that, or personal beliefs or some shit, or even like aesthetic, bias. What I mean by like perspectives is like literally your way of perceiving and observing your reality, like between using different frameworks, that to judge it materially. For example, I'm recently starting to like kind of get how visual artists look at the world and like find inspiration from the world into their artwork. And not just painters, but like photographers too.
Yeah.
Like any visual medium artist. And I'm starting to understand things like well, first of all, there's composition, right?
Yeah.
Composition is like, all right, what are the subjects in this given piece? Like, what are the pieces at play here? And then on top of composition, it's like I'm also starting to get perspective. So there's like between those different subjects, there's like they have different placements, in dimensions.
Yeah.
That's what I mean to say, dimensions, right? So if you're talking about dimensions, then you're talking about like a backdrop. There's got to be something interesting or eye-catching in the backdrop, and sometimes nothing could be interesting. Sometimes all white could be interesting as a backdrop. It just has to be there.
Yeah.
And then you have something like of a different scale, of a different size, like whether in front of it or perhaps behind it or next to it, whatever, just to provide kind of like a contrast, whether it's a contrast even in color and size and all that shit and shape. So it's like once I could kind of view that, then I could say like, all right, I guess this is how they could kind of like, this is how they view it, this is how they see it,
it's like paper feng shui.
So for me, when I approach music, I approach music in a very spatial way as well. Like I always say like, okay, if you could modulate like the stereo and the mono signal of a given sample or sound or a wave, then I could say if it's really wide, then that's going to take up like a more rear end, like a backdrop area of my audible collage. And if there's going to be like something sharp, like a mid-heavy synth or a lead, then that's going to be like the subject that's further up, you know. And
it kind of feels like ocean layers to me, sort of.
Yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
like if you saw the ocean layers as a work of art, like that's how music would be.
You know what else is cool? Like what I mean, I could say like DAWs kind of do the same way, but if you work with like Photoshop, it's basically layers, right?
Yeah.
You're working with layers in different elements,
Yeah.
and you know what? Painting's like that too, except you just can't go back. You know, like you can't like.
I mean, yeah, it's just all layers on top of other layers. Sometimes you can get rid of layers. Usually, I don't do that. I usually just damage control it. Honestly, like. I feel like whenever I put a mark on the thing, like I have to account for it somehow, but like I don't want to get rid of it because it's there.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
No, but it is funny. It's like it's really just like being able to spatially perceive your material, whether it's sound or whether it's paint or whether it's like, you know, rock or marble. Like if you're able to spatially perceive your vision and like to see like what kind of space it's taking, where it's taking it up, and how it's taking it up. And I think that's when I start to see like, I don't know, I'm starting to view it that way. And like I'm starting to get visual artists' perspectives. And I think what really bridged the gap was like probably swordsmanship, you know, because swordsmanship made me think about like expressing my physical will, you know, like in a three-dimensional space, like forward, back. I'm basically taking up space. And I thought about like how like I view techniques and how I'm going to make it work. And then I have to say, so I have to come at his body at this angle because at this angle his balance is off at this point. And then I look at like paintings and I'm like, oh, okay, I could see the composition here. I could see why, you know, this is interesting because, you know, this at this distance from this angle with that in the backdrop, it's like, that's pretty cool. And sometimes it could be profound. Yeah, so I like that. It's a process. Yeah. To start from like, I just want to make pretty pictures to like, holy shit, I'm basically like playing with like.
Yeah, and like we mentioned it in number 2 also. It's like there's like when you get technical or whatever. Maybe it was number 2 on that. Whatever, somewhere in between there. Like we just started getting more like technical. Like I remember like the whole aquarium tank thing or whatever. You just have to like delve deeper and deeper. Yeah, it's part of it kind of goes into like it came from don't get comfortable pretty much.
Yeah, before we get to the next thing, I think we should take a minute and promote Boachella.
Oh God. Boachella's happening.
We don't have to promote. I doubt like, any of the 47 subscribers of this YouTube channel is even going to see.
It looks like there's one eyeball on us right now, and it might be me.
No, that's just what's it called? Yeah, I'm always expecting like 1, 2, maybe 3 people.
Yeah, I shared it also. But yeah, Boachella's happening. It's September 23rd. It's a Saturday. So come through.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, I don't think I think it'll be over by
I
then.
don't think it's gonna rain either.
I was looking at the forecast.
I don't even have to look at the forecast. I just have a feeling I have this feeling that it's not gonna rain.
Yeah, all the storms are gonna be. We're good.
And if it does rain, like I'm like whatever. It's
also we have like a really like the fucking pop-up tent covers most of it, and we have the balcony area.
Yo, who's playing? We got the Ringgate.
We got all right. The lineup. Okay. The Dylan Farnham Look, Brendan Anderson, Nigmata, Montoni, The Ringgate, Chris Komodo, Sadme, Chum, and Curly.
Did you ever listen to the Dylan Farnham Look play?
Yes.
What's it like?
It's kind of like a variety show of sorts. There's a lot of instruments, and it's just pretty much Kevin playing, and he has like He has one of those the vocoder things. Yeah. He has like a tube in his mouth and he sings and he like does chimey stuff.
Oh my God. I got so you know that outlaw that Dagger's supposedly throwing this Saturday?
Yeah.
So apparently I'm playing that, right? But
oh, word.
But before that, so what happened was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I don't know. Dagger messages me and they're like, "Yo, why is Tony mad at you?" And I'm like, and this is like in the morning, and I was like, I don't fucking know. Mm-hmm. And then immediately hit me. I used my magical intuition, and suddenly it hit me, and I was like, oh, it's because I probably like asked out his ex-girlfriend on a date.
Oh, word. Oof.
But then I was like, but it's stupid because A, they were broken up when I asked her that, and B, nothing came of it. Nothing happened. Like we didn't really talk or do anything after that. Like nothing came of it. Word. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then like I also knew I was like, yeah, and I know this is stupid because otherwise Dagger wouldn't be messaging me to ask. You know, like Dagger wouldn't be like asking. Otherwise, like if I actually legit did something wrong, then the accuser would have no problem saying exactly what I did wrong. But I did,
true.
you know. So like the fact,
wow, yeah.
So the fact that Dagger had to ask me like, what did I do? Like I was like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Like I know this is fucking dumb. Everyone knows it's fucking dumb. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm DJing that party next week. I don't know, because if it's gonna be like dramatic shit like that, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna be like, no, I got my own stupid Boachella to worry about.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, that was funny.
No, I mean it's whatever. Like I'm if anything, I'm just sorry that I stirred so much shit. First of all, like it's not like I didn't even know this party was going down. All of a sudden, I just get this message, and then Dagger was telling me, it's like, I'm pissed about it. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I didn't even know. First of all, I had no idea you were throwing this party. Second of all, I don't have to play this. Like, you know, it's like it's okay. Like I'll be fine. And yeah, so I mean, I'm still keeping up with that position. It's just like now, it's like if I'm told like, oh yeah, you're gonna be on, and I'm like, all right, but then it's like, am I gonna be on? Like, is this gonna be a thing? Like, I want to know, because it's like a whole day that I got to plan for.
Yeah, like I also like I would rather know like. Yeah. Like, if people tell me like exactly what's going on, like that's fucking ideal. Like that's why I wanted to like plan Boachella out a little bit like earlier and give me that time, because I feel like I'd rather get all this stuff right than like half-ass everything last minute. Yeah,
so Boachella, if you, I mean, I would want to do events like on a regular basis. It's just we got to find if it gets like any more people basically than what we like, you know, if we assume like every person who's interested comes, or even half, and each one brings
that's like half of, that's kind of like half of the outside.
That's what I'm saying. So if any more people than that came to a future event, like you'd need a venue.
Yeah,
I would help you with that. I would throw up the money for a venue.
I still honestly, I'd probably just like want to do like, I don't know, like just like donation based screenings in the backyard or some shit, or if you want to like have the sword competitions and stuff, like
that would be so funny.
Yeah, because my roommates also wanted to like have like a weird like I don't know, some stupid ass like wrestling ring in the back or something, like dumb shit.
Fucking cokeheads.
Yeah, no, they're actually pretty good at it now.
We have our backyard UFC, yo.
No, for sure.
First of all, it's probably.
I think they were calling. They called it. Oh, they were saying they wanted to do hobo fighting. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted a hobo fighting rink, and I was just like, nah. Man, I'll think about it. We got to do this event first.
No, first of all, that's like a huge liability. Like,
oh, absolutely. Especially, dude, and it's right near the train tracks too. Like literally, there would just be like a homeless encampment that just like gets set up nearby, and just like everybody's betting on homeless people. And like it's just gonna be a fucking disaster.
What, you know what really, I just realized what really makes those kinds of competitions, like what the thing that really sells it, it's the cash prize. Because the cash prize builds the hype and it attracts the talent. The cash prize, like if you do like a $500 prize, like you'll have like hobo shows like, I want to make $500 for beating the shit out of some guy. Sure, let's have it.
It was crazy. Actually, when I was in Atlanta, there. A bunch of dudes brought Beyblades to a bar, and everybody was just so fucking hyped up about it. Like, just use like some weird shit like that in the back, and like monetize it. Like, just like have them bet on like who's gonna win.
Yeah, because it's exciting.
Oversized Beyblade arena in my backyard.
I don't know. Even with anything like $500, yeah, whatever. If it's like $10,000, then suddenly it's like okay. That's gonna attract. Well,
the thing is, everybody has to throw down for a prize pool, so we don't have to deal with it. Like it just has to be a prize pool.
No, that's stupid. I would rather be the guy who throws up the whole purse, so that I get to keep all the ticket sales. That's how this works. Like I would give up like $30,000 if I could make like $100,000 selling fucking tickets. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like that's a
But it's like
no-brainer.
we're not working on that scale right now.
No,
like, we're
no,
just kind of like backyarding it up.
But I wouldn't. First of all, I would never do it in someone's backyard. Like, don't get me wrong though. If I had like,
no, obviously the hobo fighting ring isn't gonna happen. Like,
No.
But maybe the sword competition stuff.
No, I do
But that
agree
wouldn't
though.
even be. I don't think I would bet on that.
I agreed though. If I had like a lot of money, like if I was like a millionaire or some shit, that's what I would do with my money. I would try to promote like stuff like that, like fights and competitions or tournaments. I think it's the most exciting shit you can do with your money. Plus, you get your money back if you do it right.
Yeah, that's a way to do it.
I mean, but then I feel like even things like that could get like really seedy. You know, once you have people like throwing fights and making like bad faith bets and shit. Yeah, he's getting a little antsy. Okay, so let's move on to number 4 on the list. Your friends won't give a shit, and that's okay.
Oh yeah, it took me a really long time to come to terms with that. Actually, like, I feel like for me, I was really self-conscious and I had low self-esteem when I was younger, and I like was always like seeking other people's approval, and like I just had to come to terms that if I actually like doing art for real, then like I shouldn't be worrying about this stuff. And like that, like I kind of came to realize this after like many years of just being like, oh, why doesn't anybody like my art? Or like thinking, oh wow, people are better than me, like look at all of the notoriety other people are getting and stuff, and like it's just
Notoriety. Did you just use that word, the N-word? You used the N-word?
Yes, I did.
Notoriety.
Yeah,
it's like the biggest word I've ever heard you say.
No, it's crazy.
I'm kidding.
Like,
It's not the biggest.
Thank you.
I was joking.
I learned it from Lana Del Rey. I'm just kidding. I just remember her using it in one of her songs.
I was just kidding, God.
But yeah, like I just didn't realize that like if I wanted to actually fucking do art, like I actually had to like doing it instead of like trying to like get people's like attention and stuff. Like I had to like work on myself first, and like just being okay with my art like on my own without other people's opinions really helped me. And especially like looking back on I guess my process and how far I've come, it makes a lot of sense. It was always supposed to happen because
especially the more you do it, the longer you do it, the more it's just going to reinforce that feeling.
It's like something that I never realized like when I was younger is like when I was in first grade, I started fucking just like zooming through my tests and flipping over the page and just scribbling everywhere and just coloring in all of like the spaces in different colors, and I didn't realize that was just like primitive bow art. It's like a development of like my actual style now, and I hadn't thought about that until like way later on in life. And yeah, it's the same thing with like I guess like being in touch with nature and stuff like that, or like being active. It's like things that you did as a child, like you realize that you still try to like manifest those kind of like I guess those feelings.
Yo, as a little kid, I was like fantasizing about fucking sword fights. Hells yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
I manifested the shit out of my childhood dreams.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and it's like so strange, like realizing now, I'm just like, wow, I fucking knew this shit all along, and it took me so long to just fucking come full circle.
I definitely knew it. I definitely knew exactly what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Because when I first signed up for sword classes, for example, I was like, yeah, I could wait till I'm in a more stable position in life, like when I'm older, to dip into a hobby. But I don't want this to be a hobby. Like, I want this to be an essential part of who I am. So I just dove right in at the age of like, I don't know, 20-something, 27, I think.
For me, I just got lost as fucking hell along the way. There were too many distractions. And also, like, I didn't know what the fuck was good. Like, I don't know, nobody ever really
That's
knew
me
what
with
the fuck
music.
was good.
Music was definitely a lot more windy path.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I always said, like, it's weird comparing music and martial arts. Martial arts feels like something I did in a past life, if that makes sense. Whereas music is like something that like completely new to my like karmic cycle.
I get like the past life thing when I talk to people and I have deep conversations with them. Like I literally like met up with this one guy that I met at a karaoke bar from like the fall, and I ran into him. He sang fucking "Island in the Sun" by Weezer, and I was just like, "Yo, why the fuck are you singing that? Like, let's hang out." And I just kept on putting that shit off until like maybe 2 weeks ago, and I finally hung out with him for like the first time ever, and like we just went right into it. We were just like talking about deep shit, like our past, and just like how everything was just like playing out, and everything was just like weird state of like everything pretty much. And like it just felt like it was like such a like I guess like reaffirming kind of conversation, and it felt like I've like had this conversation so many times, but like in different like it's a conversation you could have in like any time period really. Like it's everything is just kind of like a rehash of like I was mentioning this earlier. It's just like history does repeat itself, but it's like it's always like reskinned pretty much. Like the dynamics are still there. Everything just looks different.
Yes and no. I can agree on some level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of things that are moving in cycles, but I don't think it's like a circle. I think it's like a spiral.
Yeah, it's like a spiral. It's a spiral where you can still see the other spirals. Like you can still see like the past, sort of. Like that's how I see, like view it.
And I think it could simultaneously be a spiral upwards, or it could be a spiral downwards,
Yeah.
depending on who you are as a person.
Yeah, I was a very spiral downwards person for a while, and I feel like only recently I've just been like kind of like slowly spiraling upwards somehow. But
That's good.
yeah.
I would say, let's see. What I like about what I'm doing with my art, which is my music, I like that I feel like I'm doing something new that I haven't seen. I mean, I'm sure other people have done it. It's just in my personal circle, my personal range of, music producers and artists that I actually know. I don't know anyone else who makes it like the way I do. I mean, I'm sure they make better and worse music, all across the board in their own way, but I'm saying just the method. Like, I like that I feel like I'm exploring new grounds, so to speak. I mean, not necessarily even in, there's nothing groundbreaking about the songs themselves. It's just like, I guess like being better able to use different tools. And not like becoming a master of like modular synthesis, like a Euro rack, that's like
It feels
20,000.
like it's like you know how people can be really good at building with Legos and they know all the pieces and shit, and some people just like use the basic ones and they just like make something like cute, like a wall or something, or like a box.
Yeah.
Like it feels like that. It's like all the tools are there, but there's so many there's so many like paths to go down and things to fixate on that like I don't know.
Well, this is where I bring the principles back, and like
Yeah.
when it comes to like relating it to visual art with like composition, like the same music is no different. I mean, yes, you could take a picture of any given thing, or you could paint any random set of colors and just blobs everywhere, but without the idea of composition, there's no intention behind it.
Yeah.
So if your intention, and that's really what it is, it's like, yes, there's so many tools, there's so many different things you could do, there's so many different ways you can express things, but it's your intention that really counts. So you have to like really crystallize your attention. Your intention cannot be some vaporous, nebulous thing that just shifts constantly for you to make, like
I feel like it can for like it really depends on the person, I feel, because like I feel like I'm kind of like in between like having a plan and not having a plan, but mostly I don't have a plan. Like most of my art is like for the most part improvised. And sometimes I'll literally just like reach into a bag of markers and just grab a handful and be like, all right, these are the colors I'm dealt. This is what I'm working with. I'm going to make it look nice.
Well, that's fine in itself. I just think like as long as you don't lose the will to connect with others through the thing that you're making, because that's the only thing. It's like if other people just lose you, then it's like what the fuck was the point?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can make shit just for your own entertainment, but that gets like boring. That's boring after a while. You want other people to see your shit and connect with it.
Yeah.
In some way or form, whether it's they hate it even, at least they're fucking connecting with it enough to hate it. So yeah, as long as you don't forget that you're doing this ultimately to like connect with not just with other people, but also connect with other parts of yourself. So it's like, yeah, it's all about connection. You can't lose the will to build connection through your art or through your craft.
Yeah, and also it's like one doesn't come before the other or whatever. Like they really do go hand in hand. Like you can't like I feel like sometimes you have to like actually interact with people and get other people's like output like experiences in order to figure out things for yourself also. So like I guess like holding yourself in or like kind of like just like I don't know, staying in your own little bubble doesn't help a lot of times. Like
yeah, that's what
hinders.
That's where perspective comes into play, not just in a literal sense, like a perspective of like the art. I mean like literally like your life perspective and your model of reality, and that's definitely going to, because that doesn't just influence your style and all that shit. It also influences your drive.
Yeah.
You know, your will to keep creating and whatever it is you create.
And also, I feel like I get inspiration from people more than art itself. I feel like the inspiration that I get from people is a lot more active and it's proactive, and the inspiration that I get from like viewing art is a lot more passive. It's like kind of like there's a difference between like I'm gonna do it and I want to do it, and I feel like I want to do it is looking at art, and like I'm gonna do it is like getting inspiration from people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that. I also think that, you know, the whole like raising your consciousness thing, that also drastically like alters your perception. Especially if you're an artist. If you're an artist and you start out from one point in your life where you're just like very three-dimensional and you're very like, you know, you're very low vibrational and you're constantly just driven by either ego or animal-based needs and wants and shit like that. Constantly responding to just fear and anxiety and all this shit, and that's just the way you've been living. Basically, where everyone starts off, like, you know, in this hellscape world, until you break out. But like, suppose you start, you know, at that baseline level, and that's where you start your art, and then you go through your raising of the consciousness, however way you go about it. Suddenly, that also has like a drastic effect on your art. And you know what? It's like I also noticed this with huge, you know, bigly with music, you know, because like I would be like, you know, after going through something, you know, what some people would call a spiritual awakening, I guess, you start to, you know, you view things, and then you really try to like look out into the world. You start looking at the masses. You start looking into the eyes of every person you walk across. You're like, do they get it? Do they get it? Do they see it? Like, do they see it? Are they still trapped? Do they get it?
Oh, I don't even think about that shit, honestly.
No.
Like, I'm vibing.
Because no, the reason why you naturally do that is because it's such a radical shift in perspective.
Yeah,
once
do they know?
Once you going through it, and then you realize like, surely I can't be the only person that's going through this. Like, there has to be someone.
Or did they know the entire time?
But now you have the internet, so you go and look it up, and
Yeah.
then apparently you find out, holy shit, this is actually a very not a common experience, but it's not uncommon.
The internet has been a very interesting tool for everybody. I feel like it helps a lot, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
but
so knowing that, you know, like, okay, so that's one thing. You know, you go out into the world, but if you're an artist, suddenly that also changes everything too.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you realize like, oh shit, I don't just have to use art blindly like this. I could use it with true intention, with true discernment. You know, now that like I can actually see beyond just my own limited human incarnation and like actually feel as a human soul that there's a soul, and identify as a soul and not just the brain and the ego and the body.
Yeah.
Like, if you could see that, and then suddenly it's like, okay, then now I'm going to try to make music that touches people on that level, not just the surface level. And then you listen to other people's music, and then you hear the references, and you're like, oh, so this, like, you know that there's dudes that actually got it, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even know that they were talking about this.
I think the first time that I actually considered myself an artist was probably in like, it was before COVID. I think it was probably 2018. Maybe late 2017, early. It was a winter at some point. It was snowy, I remember. I met up with this guy, this artist, Maynard de la Cruz, and he was one of the first people that I added on Instagram because I saw he carved his handle into the R train seat. And I was just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna follow this guy. And I was like, oh my god, he's an artist. So I hit him up. And he ended up asking me to collab with him. So I ended up going to his studio, and I was like, holy fuck, I'm an artist. Like, I'm collaborating with another artist. He considers me another artist. And like, that kind of like clicked everything for me, because ever since then, I've been hitting up other people to collaborate, and I've been like putting myself out there with my handle and like having people find me.
Yeah, I guess I know what that's like, you know, to finally get that affirmation from, especially from another person in the field.
Yeah.
I had that kind of experience with music, I guess, but for me it was a little different because before I even started music, I was intimately sharing space and time with like people who were doing it for a very long time since they were like little kids.
Yeah.
You know, it's South Shore Staten Island, like they were all like band people, you know, so that's who I was usually hanging out with, and off the jump, like the standards were already set really fucking high. So even after like trying to get into playing guitar, trying to get into bands, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to make music, like even then I still kind of had some level of like, I guess you call it imposter syndrome. But I think when I really start to feel like I've come into my own is when when I was a music producer. And so, you know, subsequently as a musician, like, you know, who could play instruments and shit. But it's when I noticed I was able to do things that other people who was into doing what I was doing couldn't do. Well, like that was like that moment. And it wasn't like a victorious ego pride moment. No, it was more like you know, it was like so this is how, you know, this is when it happens. It was like, because like I remember, and it made sense when it happened to me. It wasn't like a aha moment or finally. It was mostly like I guess it was bound to happen, because more than anything, I remembered like how much shit I ate for it, like how much I suffered for this shit, like how many years. It was definitely well over a decade. So if I'm spending that much time, like spending sleepless nights behind a DAW, doing, you know, going through tutorials, investing in plugins, spending hundreds of dollars over by now on samples, fucking on tracks for DJ sets, trying to get into DJ sets that, you know, not a lot of people would see, but that I would just like break my neck just trying to like, you know, get to play.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even realize how long I spent. So many fucking like totals of days, like just like recording my vocals, like writing lyrics and poems and organizing, rearranging, compositioning, everything. Like I didn't even realize how much time I had racked up when it came to that.
Yeah, so, you know, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I wasn't even comparing myself to anyone at that point when I was like putting all that work in. It was just I knew where I wanted to be for myself, and I knew that the only way to get there was to, I don't know, I guess like put the work in. And it's like, it's not that I was looking at what other people could do. Is I would hear songs that I would DJ, and I'd be like, I want to make that level of track. How do I do it? Because I've seen other producers that I knew personally try to make their own tracks, and I was like, for some reason there was like a large difference in like quality in weird ways that I just didn't understand at the time. And I was like, yeah, how do I stop that and like make that? And that became my goal, and that became my main focus. And that kind of obsession like took me to this place where it's like, all right, now I could finally do things that other people can't do. But, you know, like, I think that's like a constantly changing, like it's a constantly dynamically moving thing, because I don't know, as I get better, other people are going to feel like shit about it, and they're like, oh shit, now I gotta step it up. And then, you know, it's hopefully, I mean, that's the ideal way. Like
I feel like it's not even like a lot of stepping up now, honestly. Like I'm looking at all the things, and it's just like, it's not really stepping up. It's just people are putting themselves out there. Like that's pretty much it. And like, I don't know, it's kind of annoying now. It's like, it feels like work.
Well, I mean, I've always,
I don't want it to feel like
work. For
me,
it always felt like work, but I never minded that. It was, for me, it was supposed to feel like work. And then like the rewards and the benefits are few and far between. That's what makes it sweeter.
I always felt like being liked shouldn't be like a struggle, you know, like.
I never thought of it as being liked. I never really judged my own work on like how much it was liked by other people. I know if it's good.
Liked in general, not like towards like the general population or whatever. Like, well, it's like being being like reaffirmed, sort of.
I look at it this way: what do you care more about, being liked or being good?
I'd rather be good, honestly.
Exactly, because like you look at like a lot of famous people who made incredible shit. They didn't get famous till like,
I don't know. I'd rather enjoy myself. I feel like I'd enjoy myself being able to do stuff. You know.
Think about how many creatives weren't liked until long after they were dead.
Yeah.
You know, their work stood the test of time because their work was good, and that's what led to them being liked in the most important way, in the way that's like not just immediate, not just that satisfying, in a way that's actually makes impacts across time. You know,
actually that kind of reminds me of this is the last artwork that I purchased from one of my friends, Hunter. It's an image. It's two images. It's an image of a church that's like all pristine and stuff, like the inside, and like it's like facing the like you're in the back of the pews and stuff, and you're like facing the altar. And then the second image is one of the burnt down one, and they had put the whiteout, the dry whiteout tape over like parts of it, and the top says, "If I live, hallelujah," and then on the bottom it says, "If I die, hallelujah." And I kind of was just like, I don't know. I just like want to live life to my fullest and not other people's fullest. And if I die and people remember me, then great. And if not, then whatever. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, it's like, what the fuck am I gonna think after, you know? Like, I'm not gonna be here. Like, I'm not gonna be on Earth anymore. But
yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So it's like, so then what really does matter at that point? It's really what matters is like,
I don't know, just vibing, enjoying yourself. Like, making what you feel is the best of what life would be.
I think for me, it's like, I just want to, because like I can't lie, like I really enjoy life right now. In fact, I think I am the most happiest with life right now than I've ever been in my entire life.
That's good. Hell yeah.
I think it's not. I don't think it's just good. I think it's very important,
Yeah.
and I think it's actually saved me. I don't think it's a matter of like, oh wow, good for me, right? I think it's like it saved my life, and I think if
there's a point in my time in life where it felt like there's more than this then. Like,
yeah,
it
exactly,
felt like that.
exactly. Basically, the only way I was able to live fully is to understand there's something more.
Yeah.
It's not hopeless. It's not pointless. Like I and that's a big ask
Yeah.
of people. It's a big ask to go up to them and ask them, can you give me your faith and just agree to believe in something happens after this? You know, can you just agree to believe in that? It doesn't have to be heaven or hell. It doesn't have to be that Abrahamic sense of the after. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But just agree that your consciousness does live on. You know, you do experience something first
Yeah.
person like after this life.
Something else happens, but just not this. Like, that's pretty much what it is.
So but that's enough for me. That's enough
Yeah.
for me to give me like all the hope I need, because after that it's just eternal. And so I think like if anything, our purpose isn't to do anything but to elevate, to find that understanding, to find that perspective, to get to it, so that like our existence is pretty much just one long chain of development. It's like we develop, we raise our consciousness higher and higher. And if we don't do it in this lifetime, that's where reincarnation comes. It's like you're going to, they say in like Buddhism or Hinduism, you're going to be taught the same lesson over and over and over again until you figure it
You
out.
ever trip balls and you just find infinity? Like, that's kind of like what we're searching for, but like, it's kind of like we're so far from it, but it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. It's like there's a lot of quacked out theories, which I really enjoy, even though I think they're quacked. Like, you know, like there's that whole idea that like a lot of our soul, we're cosmic beings just incarnating in this like third density incarnation, you know, like this human existence, this human body, so that we're here so that we could fuck up, do all types of fucked up shit, but also find it in us to, in spite, you know, this weird third density, you know, slow ass world, low vibrational world, we still find it in ourselves to still somehow raise consciousness and to do high frequency things like creation, for example, and all that shit.
Gotta vibe it up. That's why I feel like I told you at some point, or somebody else, I don't know, but I said that I like wanted to be a vibe. Like,
yeah,
I don't really want to be like an artist. Like, I want to like feel like I'm a vibe instead. Like, I don't want to call myself an artist. I just like want to exist as who I am.
You know who I feel myself getting really alienated from though? Like parents and family people, because like I mean I don't knock what they do. I don't hate on what they seek at all. If anything, I'm happy
it's just
for them.
their priority in their life is their child for the most part.
Exactly. They basically transferred their entire ego onto.
They pretty much, both of their energies are going into one being, or like whatever other children they have.
Yep.
Like, that's pretty much it. Like,
And it's crazy. It's crazy how that's going to drastically. I mean, in order for them to raise their child properly, they have to go further and further into third dimensional thinking.
And also, like, you're pretty much like they're living vicariously through this being that they created.
Exactly.
But with the premonition of the future somehow.
Yes. Or the faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still an element of faith, you know, in their child and shit. You have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like that's a big gamble.
It's like you have to humble yourself and your child at the same time.
So I'm thinking, like, you know, what if you did raise your consciousness first and then like went into thinking about like raising kids? Like, I feel like that's a good. But then it's like, I feel like at that point, do you even want kids? You're like, why would you want a kid if you've broken past the need for attachments, right?
Yeah.
You're like, this is kind of.
You're so already untethered to the world that it's kind of like, why would you like?
Exactly.
Why would you try? Why would you tether somebody else to this world and then try to untether them too?
Yeah, if you really look at it in the right perspective, you'd be looking at it as I'm just basically shoving another version of myself into another human body.
Yeah, but also like I feel like if like you're in the matter of like tethering and untethering, it's kind of like, well, well, I guess you're just like, you really know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like that
then-
also breeds stupidity to an extent. So
I guess, but at some point, like, I don't know. Because if people don't have kids, then we're fucked. So it's like kind of like
we're all fucked anyway. Like,
no, I don't think
know.
so. I think I have faith in people. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I always give everybody benefit of the doubt, and I always trusted people a lot, but I'm just kind of like tired now.
I think
so.
people should. I think people should be allowed. I think people should keep being encouraged to have kids. It's in fact, I don't know. Maybe it's becoming a problem now. Maybe not enough people are gonna be having kids.
The sun is gonna explode before anything actually happens.
Well, I look at it as like a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation. You know?
If I live, hallelujah. If I die, hallelujah.
All right. So the last item on this list, the fifth thing you wish you knew before making art.
Oh wait, we kind of skipped over Friends Won't Give a Shit, and that's okay. But
No,
we
we
kind of
didn't.
did cover it.
Yeah, we did cover it.
All right. Yeah, and self-doubt is fine. We were talking about this
All right,
also.
number 5, self-doubt is fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's fine to feel self-doubt. It's okay.
Yeah,
Feel the doubt.
It's normal, and it's something that I thought was wrong with me for a while.
Let it flow through you. Let the doubt consume you. No, don't let it consume you.
You have to acknowledge that it's there, and like, yeah, and like I don't know. I guess like whatever, like internet therapy or whatever helps me a little bit with that, because like, yeah, like making space for little me and stuff, like it works actually. Like,
yo, there's a quote I really like. Your emotions are just visitors passing through.
yeah, for sure. Like
I like that.
I need to keep on remembering that.
Yeah, your emotions are just little visitors passing through. You know,
Yeah.
they're just.
Yeah, like a lot of times when I feel bad now, I'm just kind of like, oh shit, it's this feeling again. Well,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
like,
that's literally
it's like,
it.
oh, well,
That's,
here it comes, and like also I'm like more vocal about it now. Like if I feel something's wrong and I know it's going to affect the other person around me, I'm going to say something about it. I'll be like, this is probably going to happen if this keeps happening or whatever, and like I feel like I'm a lot more vocal, and it helps because I used to be a really fucking quiet kid and I wasn't able to say shit. So
yeah, I do this stupid little ritual. It's like when I get pissed off, I'm like, what the fuck? Like when I especially when I get mad enough to exclaim words,
Yeah.
I do this thing like that, and suddenly I just pull it all in, and it's literally like I mean the feeling doesn't go away, but it's almost like instead of like letting it wash you away, you kind of like step out of that river and you just watch the stream, and you're like, oh yeah, there goes the emotions, you know. It's
Yeah.
like there goes that anger.
Oh yeah, and Chandler
you know?
was really good at that one too. I remember Chandler kept on saying, why are you being mean to my friend Bo in regards to me talking about myself? And like that actually helped me a lot, because like I was just like kind of putting me in a different perspective, as in like, what would you do if somebody else was treating me the same way that I am right now?
Yeah. Especially if you had like those really dark, awful, intrusive thoughts. That's all, and all that shit, like when you get pissed off and all that shit, that's all ego. Because, you know, your higher consciousness is pure love. Your higher consciousness doesn't really give a shit about all that petty shit. It's your ego that gives a shit about that petty shit, because your ego is designed to handle all adversity.
Yeah.
That's what your ego is there for. Because, for example, when we were like cavemen and like, you know, whatever, monkeys in the wilderness, we needed that ego to like keep us fucking alive. We needed the sense of fear and anxiety. But now that we're living in like more supposedly advanced times, like that same ego is just making us stupid. And like we can't.
But also you need to remember that like, because of some problems are solved, more problems pop up.
Yeah, that
and,
too.
like,
Yeah, for sure.
It's just a never-ending fucking thing.
But back to you know, where it's like, you know, where you could separate, you know, just to be able to separate, that's step one. If you could do that much, that's like the basic of the basic. You know, like that's like the first skill they'll train, you know, in like spiritual boot camp. You just learn to separate from that ego. You know, don't stop those like impulsive emotions.
And the
just
ego
like
is also like disappointment too. I feel like I am more disappointed than mad at myself all the time.
And what's cool is like once you separate, you're at first it's like I think you get really mad at your own ego. You're like, why the fuck are you so stupid? And then your ego, and then you realize, oh, the ego's actually like literally just a child.
Yeah.
The ego is like doesn't know any better. The ego doesn't. It's your soul that has all this access to like the Akashic records and shit and the divine knowledge. Because you know, like this is what I say. Like people ask me, if anyone were to ask me, like, how do I fix my fucked up life? I would straight up like be like, dude, if I told you the answer, you're gonna just roll your eyes at me, and they'll be like, try me. I'll be like, well, do you get enough sleep? Do you eat right? You know, like, do you take care of your body? Do you take care of your mind? Do you unlearn ideas that no longer serve you? Do you cut out toxic people? And then they'll just give me that eye roll. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, exactly. We all already know.
As long as they don't say like, do you do yoga or some shit? I don't know. Like,
No, but I didn't notice. I didn't even get into all that. All I said was the basics,
Yeah,
like
it
get
is
enough
very
sleep,
basic.
eat right,
like
exercise.
the basic shit is fine. Like when
But-
it gets specific, like
No, but you
do like I
but
don't
it's
know,
fucked up
CrossFit.
because you ask people, do you really do that? And then you press them on it, and then most of them will say no. Most of them will say, no, I don't get enough sleep. No, I don't eat right. No, I don't treat myself
I
good.
absolutely don't do either of them.
But that's what I'm
somehow.
saying. So that's where I get
Yeah.
the fucking eye roll moments. So it's like, yo, it's so typical. I'm like, yeah. If I actually like, we all know the answer, and it's our higher selves.
It's like admitting that cigarettes are bad for you, but still smoking cigarettes. Like it's the same acknowledgement.
Well,
sort
first
of.
of all, I
feel
think
it.
I think you gotta like surrender to the truth. The truth is there. You just have to. It's about surrendering.
Yeah.
Yo, and I even say this on a very practical level. Like I'm like, if you have a problem in life that you just can't figure out, you gotta like lean back and ask yourself, what am I not allowing myself to see? And then the answer will come to you. It's just whether or not you can fucking face it. You know,
Yeah.
like. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of it, again, back to what you were saying, where it's like, oh, there goes my separation, or why are you being so mean to my friend Bo?
Yeah.
You know, like that's good. Those are good techniques. Those are literally tools. Those are
Yeah.
good tools to be able to, like basically see from a meta perspective, as opposed to just your immediate, oh, I'm angry, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm hungry, oh, I'm horny, you know, like all that
Yeah.
shit, all the most powerful animalistic things. If you just don't stop them. Like you're not suppressing them. That's where that could lead to disaster. It's not about suppressing them.
that's how furries exist.
What you got to do is you just got to peel away for a second and just observe yourself and just like, it's okay. So this is how I react to this
Yeah.
situation. I gotta admit it. I'm acting like a jerk. I'm acting like a bitch. I'm acting like a brat. You know, like whatever the case may be. If you could, because that's step one. And once you do that, you can't unsee that. You can't unmake that perspective. I think like, you know, any fear that people might have, it's like, oh, what if I go back to that like lower perspective? No, I think like once,
because you're already worrying about it too, so you're aware of it.
not even just,
like,
it's like you feel more responsible for
Yeah.
it. You know, you feel more responsible of your own reality and your own existence and your own actions, your own thoughts and your own feelings. Like you feel more responsible, and that's where like the service comes into play. You're like, holy shit, like my problems are actually don't see, and you realize it was all about perspective. And this is where like the next assault comes, like where the assault of like fear and anxiety. You're like, what makes me think that? Like there, you gotta admit, like, yeah, there's our instincts, but there's like a lot of cultural what's the word? There's a lot of cultural institutions that seek to reinforce lower vibrational ways of thinking.
Yeah.
That seem to they want us to feel like.
I mean, there's a lot of things that are touted as high vibration right now that are low vibration.
Like what? Like no, this is a good thing. Like I asked what?
It's all just like all the like I'd say like 5-minute crafts as an example, just because my mom actually sends me those unironically. So like it's kind of like that. Like it feels like that.
Do you mean like 5-minute crap, like the satirical
Yes.
where they make absolute
Yes.
bullshit?
So my mom thinks that it's high vibration, but it's actually extremely fucking low vibration.
Those are evil. Those videos are
They
like
are.
they make you stupid.
They piss me off so much. No, it was funny in the beginning, and like I was just like, "Hey, I could fucking do this fucking bullshit. I didn't fucking
But now they're
sorry
getting.
now.
Now they're actually. Yo, that has to stop.
Like it's bad, but I mean, whatever. Like that's everybody's trying to do the same thing, and every time I like scroll now, it's like even the ads they look like TikToks, and it's just like there's no, you can't distinguish between what's an advertisement and what's just like entertainment or form of media or whatever.
I guess like I'm just afraid of like even hating on it, because I'm like,
I don't hate on it. I just know where it's probably going to go, and I'm concerned. Like I'm like, this is really dystopian. Like
for me, it's like, yeah, I consider myself like a digital, online content creator.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I actually believe in what I put out. I mean, I say that very loosely in regards to this podcast in particular. But with like the music video stuff, like, yeah, I actually believe in that shit. I think that stuff is cool. I think that really gives like a clear insight into one method of like making electronic music that's like fun and yeah, sure, it's like a little gaudy with like the price of the equipment, but it could be worse. I've seen dudes with Euro racks that are worth like 5 figures. I'm like,
I mean, it could be worse. You could be like a meme recycler or something. I don't know. Like,
no, I make things that I sincerely feel like emotionally connected to. You know, like I believe in this. I like it. It makes me feel good. It doesn't make me feel like bad or
I feel like a lot of people
cynical.
on my fucking Facebook already know like all the shit that I've been through, and I've like never been like bullshitting my way through it. Like I have just been like, it's been my outlet for so long that like I don't know, it feels like it's just natural to like, that's my kind of content.
What? I could see that. I'm so cynical on Facebook. It would be hard for people who don't really know me that well to like think I would ever like care about anything sincerely enough. You know, like making music and shit, or like any kind of
that
art.
Is really interesting, because like I always like knew you as like IRL, like I met you before Ideas or whatever. So like, yeah, you were just always like an actual person to me.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, music is awesome. I mean, I guess like I think I stuck to it because it always did me good. Music always treated me really well. I would say for the most part. Yeah,
you were always music-y. Like, yeah, you wanted to work on music with me a long time ago too. Like when you were still playing guitar.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to find good singers. Generally speaking, like unless they actually start actively coming to you, but you know, I can't say anyone's coming to me for anything, so it's like I would say it's hard to find good singers to work with. So yeah, I mean, look, hopefully I think the video is the meta. I think the video element is really what sets it apart, because I mean, anyone could make music really now, like, right?
Yeah.
It's just like if you could portray the video imaging. I mean, even take this podcast, for example. Podcasts used to be traditionally just audio only, and now there's like it's almost becoming standard to add a video element. It really is like the meta.
Yeah. Everything's just being broadcasted all the time. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, I already said this before in another episode. I was like, it'd be cool to see this shit and like to see this episode 10 years later. 9/11 2033.
Tyler said sup. Y'all make good music together.
2034.
Tyler Kusifer.
Yeah, he likes her singing a lot.
Oh yeah.
Every time I posted a Circle Cat video, he was like, "Bo rules."
Yeah, I actually met up with him when I went to Atlanta. That was cool. We tried to work on music, but we were just like it was just chill time.
Yeah.
So we were working on this song, sort of. We're just fucking around, and I like made like these lyrics that is just like Hatsune Miku is like the uniter of all the internet people when it comes to me hanging out with them, like IRL.
All right. Well, this just goes back to, I mean, this is also funny because I remember like 5 years back when I was trying to collab with people, and they would get kind of like upset at how militant I would be about like, I don't know, making tracks and shit, and I'll be like, fuck you.
I didn't even think you were that militant. Damn.
No, I mean, not you, but I'm just saying I've worked with a lot of people over the years.
I thought that I was like I would have like if I wanted to work with people, I would be very particular about
No, things. That's not being militant. That's just being picky. I mean, see, I'm not about like being, I don't give a fuck if an artist I'm working with is being like detail oriented and is very picky about, no, I want this sound change or this echo. I think that's great. I think like attention to detail tells me that the person I'm working with actually gives a fuck. What bothers me is like the logistics. It's like, and I put myself to the standard all the time. It's like, oh, like if we were supposed to meet up and then we don't, or shit, like that's the shit that gets to me, because I'm like, fuck. Cause
that actually, honestly, that was bothering me. Like when I kept on rescheduling, I was like, fuck, I was gonna do this every fucking week, and then shit started happening.
No, I don't care now. I'm just saying back then, it was a big thing for me, because I was like, at least if we meet up and disagree while we meet up, that's fine. At least progress is being made in a sense. But like if there's, if it's constantly getting like kicked down the can, that's kind of like where it just gets unaddressed and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, I could not, I don't know. It's just different now, because I guess it's I'm already like overwhelmed enough as it is with just one project with music. So like to like really just seek new projects, it's like no thank you. I'm perfectly willing to take my time with stuff.
Yeah, I'm just focusing on the BOACHELLA right now. It was just rainy. So
What, Boachella?
yeah, I still gotta set up the backyard. I got like those interlocking wood tiles.
I really wish we
For
could
the
have played a
perimeter.
set, but we can't. I don't think we have enough time for that. That would be so sick.
We can kind of do one like before everything. I was thinking of doing open mic or karaoke before that during the Art and Chill. So like we do have an open space for performing stuff if need be.
Nah, I don't want to do it at Boachella.
Okay.
I would have loved to, but if I because like I would have loved to do it at Boachella, but only if I planned for it like a month longer. Because
Like-
I have to like set a lot of shit up for something like that.
Uh-huh.
Like right now, all my gear is just focused on like producing and like.
You can like throw one of our tracks into your set.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the vision. It wouldn't be the full way I would want to do it because like, I wouldn't want to just like have DJ decks and like play the beat and then it would be like.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for you, it'd be like, you know, like for you, it'd be just all natural. You'd just be like, whatever. It's like you and your element, you know, especially doing like karaoke a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, it would be like, I'm just pressing play and like turning up the volume. And like, I don't want to do that. I want to actually like do some element of like live instrumentation at least to demonstrate that like, yeah, I put work into like making this shit. It wasn't just something that it wasn't just all sampled.
I mean, you could kind of transition into Wasted and then back out of it during your set.
Yeah. Also, sometimes like it's not even like a big compulsion. It's just a part of me just wants to feel like we should just write. If we're gonna make another album, we should just write whole new songs.
Yeah.
I feel like if we wrote whole new songs, it would just be like a lot
I like
better.
writing new songs. Like I like making new things. I just like never finish them.
And also, yeah, that's the biggest problem right now because we already worked hard enough on these past songs where we have to do something with them. You know, we can't just like make new shit and just forget about that shit.
But we're not gonna because like we wanted to do video components for that, and I was already gonna be like separating all my shit. So like we
Yeah.
would still be working on parts of it, just different kind of media.
Yeah. Especially like I don't know. Maybe you got to me. You know, maybe I do want to do some more guitar heavy stuff. Like maybe I
always
do.
wanted to do more guitar heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's like being in a band, but then it's like suddenly it's like, all right, then we're gonna start looking for a drummer.
We
and
don't
a
have to.
bassist.
I mean, like there's just like there's so many random ass fucking like combinations of instruments for bands these days. Like
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
I feel like this is good enough. Like we're working on what we have. Like we don't have to we don't need anything else really. Like
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah, like but that's also like how my mentality is now because I just kind of like cut off all of like my hoarding intake for the time being so that I could like actually like process all the things that I already have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's like I'm just gonna work with what I have until I can't, pretty much. But there's still a lot of things to explore with this one.
Yeah, I pretty much got like now I'm in this, I have this huge credit card bill in my other credit card account, my personal account. My business account I always have to keep clean because that's where I get my rewards from. But my other credit card bill, I think I'm at like
Yeah, I need to start my business.
$3 or $4 grand.
I need to do the LLC thing. I have been slacking on that.
But I bought everything I need to buy. Like, I bought everything I set out to buy. I bought my fucking stupid ass insane speakers. I got my bed. You know, like, I got...
Yeah.
I really do need a camera, though. I think a camera would be a smart investment.
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking about that, too, for me, but I never... Like, I wanted to kind of, like, stream just what I do in my room, but, like, have a bigger pan of it, sort of. Because, like, I do art there, but, like, I also, like, chill, and that's what I would just do.
Yeah.
And then I would just sell my art that I do. Or something.
You just got to push the boundaries, man.
Yeah, but the boundaries are being pushed, and I'm tired, so maybe I'll nap tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah. I think music is pushing boundaries for you.
Yeah. I used to always put, like, I always considered music a hobby just because, like, I wanted to focus on art more. But at some point in my life, I wanted to do mainly music because I thought it was fun. And, like, I just ended up shifting back to art because it was comfortable. Like, it was just too many things for me to learn.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of shit I can learn for like, especially just within the realm of music production. But I don't know. I feel like I've learned enough to be at least be able to just like make whatever I need to make. At this point, in order to get to like the next plateau, I would need like, I don't know, like $50,000 or some shit to be able to invest in like the next level shit. You know, like my own space or my own studio space, or set of equipment, or just to really even rework my own apartment. I don't fucking know. Something like that.
Yeah.
But then I could like, I don't know, I guess find any asshole rapper. It's like, all right, I'll make you a fucking star. You know, it's like if he has the right style and he has the right attitude and he's got that can-do spirit, and I'm just like, yo, fuck these industry bigwigs. You know, like we could do this. We could just infiltrate culture and destroy it from the inside out.
That's
create something new.
What was I thinking about before?
Rappers, fucking rap music, man. I don't know what to think about rap anymore. Like seriously, what do you think about rap these days? I like JPEG Mafia, like that weird shit.
I'm still stuck in my indies 2010s phase. It's just comfortable for me. It's just chill music to me. So I like end up listening to more of that, just like chill vibey stuff.
What do you think about the Circle Cat music so far?
It's pretty cool. It's
definitely got some of your
very unique.
It's definitely got your influences into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun project. It definitely got me through a really rough patch in my life. Yeah, it's really weird like looking back on the lyrics and like kind of remembering how I felt back then, because it was probably like the lowest and like just blank I've been like in my entire fucking life.
The dark night of the soul.
Yeah, so like looking at it now, I'm just like, damn, like that shit was crazy.
What was your favorite song so far? I think you know my favorite song. What's your favorite song?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like all of them all of them are fun because all of them I sing in them. Like it's hard to pick.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
I like Wasted.
I think yeah, that one's a catchy one. I like that one too, but I think that like would be like my second favorite. I think the other one would what was the X1, because it has
that's the best song. That's the
like,
best, objectively the best song. It's the best written.
Yeah.
And I think it just flows nice into parts, but Wasted is cool. It's the coolest fucking song in my eyes, because it's got a drivey guitar riff. It's got cool vocals, cool lyrics. It's just a cool fucking song, and it's got a stupid dubstep part at the end. What more could you ask for? Like that's a song. That's a fucking song.
More cowbell.
It's literally just, yeah, exactly. It's a more cowbell song. It's a slapping on it's to slap the hood, the roof of it, and like this puppy could fit so many Prius, Honda. I don't know what. No. It's just a good song.
That's so funny. Shit. Wait. What was the last one? The last
Wasted.
one. Was, yes. Self-doubt is fine.
Yeah, we did that. We covered that. No, we're actually good on time. So yeah, we finished up the podcast. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Bo.
Self-doubt is fine, guys.
Yeah, self-doubt. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream. Good night.
Bye.
Wait, yeah, there we go.
Damn, that was too much of me bullshitting.